for us to keep Silas here, she moved out. And that was like the first few days that she moved in March. Which this happened by April, the beginning of April.
April of what year?
2020.
2020. Okay.
Yeah.
And so was it CPS that placed Silas with you?
Yes, CPS placed Silas with me back then. And Sonia had to move out because they could not be together. Then Sonia did classes. She started doing classes and doing drug tests and got cleaned up, recovered custody back of Silas. I'm going to say it was towards the end of the year of 2020. And that's when CPS signed him over back to her again. But instead of Silas moving with her, she moved into my house back again. And that's the reason why Silas has never left my home.
Okay. So after Silas was placed back with her and she was living in your home with Silas, when did Sonia move out of your residence after the last order in 2021?
Again, CPS, she was in and out of the house, and then back in, this form is an authorization agreement for voluntary adult caregiver, and it was signed by Sonia, myself, and a CPS notary public, state of Texas. It was signed by Sonia on March 24th of 2023. It's signed by myself at March 27, 2023. And
Okay.
like I said, it was notarized by a CPS notary.
Okay, so that's when Sonia moved out?
A little bit before, yes.
Okay, got it. Now, to the best of your knowledge, has the CPS investigation concluded?
I want to say yes. They haven't called us no more. They said that they would drop this. They would step out as soon as you, the general attorney, I can't remember what you're called.
The Attorney General?
Attorney General, yes, sir, would step in.
Okay. All right. So is it your wish that Silas continue to live with you?
Yes, that would be fine. I'm doing all this for his main safety.
Okay.
And I have, I will take care of him like I have for the past so many years.
Okay. So let's talk about March 2023. What was going on that CPS was involved and had y'all sign that document? Was there something going on that they were concerned for Silas's safety?
Drug use.
Okay. So
By,
drug use by Sonia, I'm sorry?
yes.
Okay. All right. So if Silas continues to live with you, what kind of visitation would you like Sonia to have with Silas?
I have no inconvenience. She can come visit him as long as, like it stays up to now. She announces herself. And if we're here, because the last orders, those visits had to be supervised. And up until now, she'll call me and she'll say, I want to go see Silas. Say, okay, we'll be here on this day, this time. And she'll show up and she'll visit Silas here at my home. And they visit here.
Okay. So you'd like it to continue to be in your home supervised?
Yes.
Okay. And do you work?
No, I don't. I'm a full-time stay-at-home mom or wife. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Uh,
So the visitations can be just about any time that you don't have like appointments. Is that fair to say?
no appointment, as long as I don't have an appointment, which my appointments most of the time are during the day. And during the day, Silas is in school. He's 10 years old. So he is in school from 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, we leave the house at 7:30, and we get back at 4 o'clock.
Okay. Do you believe that Ms. Garcia could take Silas if there were additional conditions, like say drug testing?
Yes, I mean, I have no inconvenience. If she was to clean up and get her life back together, I would have no inconvenience at all, even to the whole custody of Silas back to.
Okay. And do you believe that you and Sonia can make decisions together for Silas, like about where he goes to school, making medical decisions and that kind of thing? Or do you feel like you should be the one to make all of those decisions?
Mm, I think I think sometimes she can, we can work things out that we could both do it, or if um if I had to do it by myself, if she's not available where I can find her. Otherwise, if she's here, I could mention it to her, or she could suggest to me, "Hey, I think you need to take Silas to a doctor." Yeah, we do. We
Now
work.
let's talk about Mr. Fuentes. It looks like in the last order, Mr. Fuentes was not to have any contact with Silas. Uh, what
Extra.
do you know what the reason is why Mr. Fuentes was not to have contact with Silas?
Um, that was a court that I was not. Um, I did not participate in that. That was the custody, but of what I know is, and I do have the paper, is probably because since he did not go into, there was a drug abuse in their home when they were together before March of 2020. And he did not cooperate with going to classes. He did not cooperate with CPS at that time.
So since Silas has been living with you, has Mr. Fuentes visited with Silas?
There's been phone calls,
Okay.
but no visits.
Okay. Um, do you feel like you would need a non-disclosure order that would keep your address and your phone number out of the order so that no one else could get them through the order?
Mm, why would that be, sir? I
If you
don't.
felt unsafe for any reason, or if you felt that Silas was in danger from any person.
No, because they, like Sonia and Irving, they both know exactly my address, my where I live and everything. So I wouldn't
Okay.
find keeping it out of the court, any necessary thing to do.
Okay, understood. What kind of health insurance does Silas have?
He has Texas Medicaid.
Okay,
Uh, what I have with me are his medical card and his dental card.
okay. And you understand that we're here to set child support for Silas. You want to receive child support from Ms. Garcia and Mr. Fuentes for Silas, is that correct?
Okay, yes.
Did you also want to request retroactive support, and that would be support going back into the past, or did you want to just start fresh on February 1st?
Oh no, no backup. Just the fresh would be good.
Okay. All right, Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
Okay, Miss Sonia Garcia, do you have any questions of Sylvia Garcia?
No, but I do want to let you know I want.
Okay, hold on.
custody.
This is your opportunity to ask her questions. You'll get an opportunity to testify later on in the hearing, but do you have any questions of Miss Garcia?
I mean, not really, no.
Okay, Mr. Fuentes, do you have any questions of Miss Garcia?
No, ma'am. The only concerns I have is
Okay, wait a second. You'll get an
Okay.
opportunity to testify in a few minutes. Do you have any
Okay,
questions
no,
of
you're
Miss
good.
Garcia?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Burnishette?
I call Sonia Garcia.
Miss Sonia Garcia, will you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will provide in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can lower your hand. You may proceed.
Ms. Garcia, you're Silas's mother, is that correct?
That's correct.
And it's my understanding you want Silas to come back to live with you, is that correct?
That's correct. I want full custody of him once again.
Okay. And let me just ask you about your living situation because drugs have been mentioned. Have you been through a rehab?
I did put myself in rehab. I didn't finish the course. I did get sick and ended up in the hospital for a good week and a half. I did stay on drugs a little bit after that, but I've been clean a good month already. And I really do want to keep it that way this time around. I want full custody of my son again, the way I used to have it. His father hasn't seen him. His father doesn't even call him. I mean, he does. It's maybe once a month or anything, but it's just like for a 3-minute phone call.
Okay.
My son doesn't even have his father's number in order to contact him, anything like that.
Now, Ms. Garcia told the court that in the past, Silas and you had been living with her. Is it your intention now for Silas to just live with you and not for either of you to live with Ms. Garcia?
Correct. I want him to just come and live with me. I've had full custody of him before. The last time that I gained custody, it was just me and him, and that's the way I want it to be. I was,
Okay.
Involved in the not too good of a crowd. That's why I did get on drugs. But I no longer speak to that party. So, I'm getting everything back together. I'm getting cleaned up and whatnot.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your living situation right now. Do you have a house or an apartment right now?
It's a house.
It's a house. Do you share that house with anybody else?
No, sir.
Okay. So do you have a mortgage or are you renting the house?
I'm renting.
Okay. So you're working in order to pay the rent on that house?
Actually, I get disability. I get some for myself and some for my son.
Okay. Do you know what kind of disability it is? Is it SSI or SSDI?
SSI.
SSI. And how much are you receiving on the SSI?
I get 1,191 and my son gets 200.
Okay. So you're saying Silas also gets a check. Are you sure it's not SSDI?
No, it's SSI.
Okay. Does Silas have any kind of disabilities?
No, they gave it to him. They said I'd be able to get some for him because of me. I'm not sure as to why, but no, he doesn't.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any other children besides Silas?
No,
Okay. And so you say you're not working right now?
that's correct.
Okay. And do you have any reason that you would want to have your phone number and address withheld from the order so that no one would have access to it?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you live in the same town as Sylvia Garcia so that Silas would be able to attend the same school?
Yes, already.
Okay. Okay. All right, Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
Okay, Miss Sylvia Garcia, do you have any questions of Sonia Garcia?
No, I don't.
Mr. Fuentes, do you have any questions of Sonia Garcia?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Okay. I have a couple of questions, Ms. Garcia. When is the last time you visited your son?
Yesterday,
For how long?
for like an hour and a half.
Have you had any discussions with your mother about taking the child?
As in custody or as in out for like a.
As in custody?
I have talked to her. I've told her that I wanted to clean up and get custody of my son back, and she had actually agreed to it. So I don't know why things are changing around now.
Okay. Are you on any type of probation right now?
No, ma'am.
Have you had a recent drug test?
No, ma'am, I haven't.
When's the last time you used drugs?
A month ago.
And the home that you're living in right now, how many rooms does it have?
It has two.
And what rooms are those?
It has the living room, of course, the kitchen. It has 2 bedrooms.
And you're in one of the bedrooms right now?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
All right. And no one else lives there, just you?
Correct.
And you're receiving Social Security income for your son. Are you providing that to your mother to help support your son?
Yes, I buy my son everything he needs. He wants some new shoes. He needs some clothes. You know,
Okay. My question was, have you provided any of that money to your mother?
I'll give her some, but really I buy him the items.
All right. When did you give her money?
I think the last time was about 2 weeks ago.
How much did you give her?
About $100 or so.
Okay. All right, Mr. Burnishette.
All right, I call Irving Fuentes. All right, Mr. Fuentes, you're Silas's father, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, we've heard that you've called Silas on the phone a couple of times. What's the last time that you've spoken with Silas?
I want to say maybe a month, maybe 2 months ago. I talked to Sylvia about what was going on with the court hearings and stuff like that, and I had talked to her and him at the same time. That was maybe a couple months ago. I'm not 100% sure, sir.
Okay. Now, do you want to have visitation with Silas going forward?
I would like it to be without mom being involved or around. Grandma would be fine if she could meet us somewhere halfway, if she's the one that's going to be having custody of him. But there's a possibility of meeting us halfway so I could see him, just have a visitation with him just for a couple hours or something. That's what I would like. But
So you're
I know
okay with Sylvia Garcia, but you don't want Sonia to be around, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said meet you halfway. Where are you living right now?
I don't want to disclose that because of mom being around.
Okay. Can you be as specific as a city?
Um,
I can give you.
How about mileage? How far? How many in miles? Can you?
I'm probably. How far is it from?
He lives in Midland.
We're about 2 hours and 42 minutes away and 178.9 miles away.
Okay. All right. So that makes casual visitation a little difficult. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir. I understand that. Like I said, it was just for a few hours. You know, it's all I'm asking. Maybe halfway somewhere or something like that would be fun.
Okay. Now, I noticed that in the last order, it was directed that you were not to have any contact with Silas. What was happening at that time that was included in the order?
Okay, so during that time, Sonia and I had split up, and she went to go live with her mom. I could not deal with Sonia's behavior or attitude or anything like that. So I constantly got my phone blown up from her. I tried to avoid her. I lost custody of my daughter because of her. And there's so much that played into it that I just try to distance myself from her so much that it played a role into distancing myself from my son as well. It's just trying to get away from her was one of the main priorities and the main reasons why. And I know CPS had something to do with it as well, but excuse me, that just kind of pretty much was the more leverage to get away from her. I know I could see my son or do visitations with him at some point later down the road if I got an attorney. So I just wanted to get away from his mother.
Okay. So what you're telling us is there wasn't abuse or neglect or anything from or drug use from your side. Is that correct?
I did have some drug use, but I never abused my son or hurt him or anything like that. You know, I was a sole provider of him and my oldest daughter, and I always took care of them and did what I was supposed to.
Okay. And in that previous order, you were ordered to pay child support and provide medical support for Silas. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And have you always paid everything in full and on time?
I paid the child support on time. It's always gotten pulled out of my pay stubs, or paychecks. The medical, I had an agreement with either Miss Sonia or Miss Sylvia that they were gonna get Medicaid through, I guess, whatever they have right now, and that's pretty much what it was. So I didn't have to get insurance for them, which I mean I can if I need to, but it's just
Okay.
more money out of my pocket right now.
Okay. And Your Honor, I'll offer in evidence the Attorney General's pay record. It's an updated version of the copy that was attached to the pleading, and I'll offer that as State's Exhibit number 1.
Okay, Mr. Fuentes, any objection to State's Exhibit number 1 coming into evidence?
I don't know what that. I'm not seeing anything.
Okay, the pay history that you received a copy
Oh,
of?
yeah. Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any objection to that coming into evidence?
No, ma'am. Sorry, my daughters are making
Okay.
noise in the background.
Okay. Miss Sonia Garcia, any objection to the pay history coming into evidence?
No, not the pay history. I mean, he is behind about $1,000, but
Miss Sylvia Garcia, any objection to the pay history coming into evidence?
No.
Okay. State's Exhibit number 1 is admitted.
Okay. And you just mentioned some other children. How many other children do you have, Mr. Fuentes?
I have a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. I apologize. I have a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old.
And they both live with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any other children that you're paying support for?
My oldest daughter, she's 14. I pay child support for her.
Okay. So you've got 3 other children besides Silas altogether. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And based on some of the statements that you've made earlier, it sounds like you want your address and phone number and other contact information withheld from the order. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's because of what you feel was harassment from Sonia Garcia?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What do you do for a living?
I'm an auto body tech. I repair vehicles.
Okay. Are you paid by the hour or are you paid a regular salary?
I am paid on a commission base, so my hours fluctuate off of what vehicles I work on, and stuff like that. It is hourly based, but it is not the same. I don't know how to explain that to you.
Yeah, I can understand how it fluctuates if you're on commission. Can you give
Yes,
me
sir.
the best estimate that you can of what your earnings are on a monthly basis? And I'm talking about the gross monthly income before taxes are taken out of it.
Okay, before taxes are taken out of it, you're probably looking at around $4,500, maybe 5,000, depending on how good of a month I have. That's pretty much where I'm averaging.
Okay, 4,500 to 5,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you have any health insurance available to you that you would rather put Silas on?
I have health insurance on my daughters, and my wife and myself through my work.
Okay. Does that insurance cost anything extra if you were to add Silas to that insurance?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm already paying close to more or less $900 for all four of us.
Okay.
And that's through my work as well, so I'm not 100% sure how much all that runs.
Right. Okay. All right, Judge, I'll pass the witness.
Okay, Mr. Fuentes, do you also have dental insurance available?
I do, yes, ma'am. I got dental and vision.
Okay, and you don't know how much the dental is either? You think it's all about 900 a month?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. It all together, like with the dental, vision, and the insurance, I'm paying more or less closer to 1,000, maybe around there, a month.
And
But I'm not.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm not 100% sure on that. I apologize.
Okay. And the people that are on that insurance are you, your wife, and your 3 children?
My 2 daughters.
2.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Miss Sylvia Garcia, do you have any questions of Mr. Fuentes?
No, I don't.
Miss Sonia Garcia, do you have any questions of Mr. Fuentes?
As in which way? Because I do. I don't want him anywhere near my son.
Okay, so do you have any questions of Mr. Fuentes?
What? Yeah, why would he be able to see him?
Are you asking Mr. Fuentes why he would be able to see your son?
Why does he want to see him?
Why do you want to see him, Mr. Fuentes?
He hasn't been there.
Wait, okay, that's the question.
I just figured with him being my son, I'd like to see him.
Any other questions, Ms. Garcia?
No.
Okay. Mr. Burnishette.
The state rests, Your Honor.
Okay, the state is rested. That means they have no further evidence or testimony. I will give everyone an opportunity to present any other testimony that they would like to. Ms. Sylvia Garcia, do you have any further evidence or testimony that you would like to present?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you also rest?
What is that?
Do you rest? That means you have no further evidence or testimony.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. Ms. Sonia Garcia, do you have any further evidence or testimony that you would like to share?
I mean, I just believe that his father should not have any part. I would rather him keep his money and not ever see my son again. He hasn't been there. He hasn't caught him. He doesn't know anything about him. You know, so I think it's ridiculous that now he does want to come. The last time I spoke to Irving did tell me that he was going to fight for custody just so that he wouldn't have to raise the child, or we wouldn't raise child support, because he didn't want to pay for him anymore. So I don't know if you can include that part in there. Of course, he's not going to tell you the truth. I also did not harass Mr. Fuentes. Whenever all of this happened, I was actually still talking to Irving. The day that we last had court, Irving didn't show up. After all the court settled, I called him and I told him, hey, you're going to be paying this much in child support. You didn't show up, but you don't have rights to our son. He agreed. He said, okay. He said, thank you for not raising it up to the $900 that it should have been. And we were still continuing to talk the whole time. I actually know where he lives. He lives in Midland. I know since when he sold our house and everything like that. I have no intention of talking to him ever again. He has my son's number. And of course, he can call him whenever he wants. That's my son's phone that I pay for. And still, he doesn't even stop. And if there would have been harassment, he could have filed charges. But once again, there's been none of that. And I think
Okay.
I don't want him anywhere near my son. He wasn't a good person then. He pulled out his gun and said that he was going to shoot me and my family. He was going to start with me. My son was holding my hand that day that he did do that and say it.
When was that, Miss Garcia?
That was back in March of 2020, whenever I did leave Mr. My son, like I said, I was trying to go, me and my son were going to go pack some things up. After Mr. Fuentes had got our little coffee table, thrown it across the living room, and then Mr. Fuentes went, I was in my son's room, Mr. Fuentes went and he was in the hallway, stopped us right there at the door of my son's room. He had his gun already, and he went and sat down. He said, your family's coming, I'm gonna shoot all of them, but I'm gonna start with you. My little boy was holding my hand. We didn't have any shoes on. I pretended to go into the laundry room. That door was right next to a side door. We were pretending to walk that way, and then I just opened up the side door and we ran. Like I said, we didn't have any shoes on or anything, but we were able to get away. And after that, me and Irving stayed in really good contact. So I don't know why he's saying anything about harassment. We would talk to each other. I would actually let him call my son and talk to him and everything like that, because at the time, my son didn't have a phone yet. He had a tablet that was provided by his father, until one day his dad got mad because my son didn't want to answer him. So he completely disconnected that tablet. And then, of course, I went in, I got my son a phone, to which Mr. Fuentes has always had the phone number, but never cared to call. And really, that's about it. My son doesn't know his father. And I did actually take him once or twice halfway to go see his dad.
When was that, Miss Garcia?
Oh gosh, this was back whenever I got custody of my son, in October of 20, I think 21, 22. But then, we did make another arrangement to where the wife was upset because of something that had occurred on one of the last visits. And after that, that was it. He didn't talk to my son anymore. And I mean, I think it's pretty ridiculous because, like I said, I know where he lives. I know, what he does and everything like that. And obviously he doesn't know I know that, but I've never cared to either talk to him.
Okay. Do you have anything else that you would like to testify to?
No, other than I want full custody of my son again. That's it.
Okay.
I know I did mess up. I agree. I really did mess up this time around. I got, hooked on a drug that I should have never even thought of doing. But I do want my son back on my own. I have been cleaning up. I didn't have to go to rehab to clean up. And I've been trying really hard. I just want my son back, just me and him the way it used to be.
All right. Do you rest?
I do.
All right. Mr. Fuentes, do you have any testimony that you would like to share?
I'd like to say that Ms. Garcia has orchestrated a big scenario that's not true. She had an incident with my daughter, choked my daughter out, and me and her got into a situation to the point where I asked her to leave the house. She was not wanting to leave the house. Finally, I had to force her to leave the house. She went next door to the neighbors, called the cops, said that I was being abusive and whatnot. And the cops showed up, apparently, obviously. She wasn't in the right state of mind at the time. She also tried taking the dogs to a women's shelter, even though it wasn't hers. There was a lot of things that played into that scenario, ma'am, that Ms. Garcia is lying about. And then also, if she's saying that she has not harassed me, a lot of that's a lie as well. I have came to some emails that she has sent to my wife, myself included, in the last month over her taking my son's grandmother, taking him to Mexico to go visit some family and relatives down there. And Miss Garcia was throwing a fit over it, trying to get in contact with me and my wife. I have all those emails to present to the court if needed. And, a big story that has been continuously been played out with her, which is just a bunch of nonsense to me. And that's the reason why I try to keep myself away from her and that situation that's going on. And I rest, ma'am.
Okay. I have a couple of questions, Mr. Fuentes. What is the name of your employer?
Can I tell you on a different thing, please?
What is your job? What do you
I'm
do?
an auto body tech. I repair collisions. I do collision repair.
Okay. And it's been alleged that you have used drugs in the past. Do you currently use drugs?
No, ma'am.
Do you have to get drug tested at your employer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how long have you worked there?
I have worked there over 2.5 years, more or less. Yeah.
When's the last time you used illegal drugs?
The last time I used illegal drugs was maybe a couple years ago, somewhere in there.
Okay. Do you own a vehicle, Mr. Fuentes?
I do, ma'am.
Okay. All right. All right. So you've rested. Everyone is rested. Close, Mr. Burnishette.
Your Honor, it appears that for the stability of the child should be left with Ms. Sylvia Garcia. She should be named the sole managing conservator and the others possessory conservators. And it appears for, once again, the stability of the child, that supervision should be, or that visitation rather, should be supervised. As for a calculation for the child support, Ms. Garcia, it appears, is already receiving a check for Silas that should be going to Silas. As far as Mr. Fuentes goes, I did a calculation based on $4,750, which is the amount in between the $4,500 and $5,000 that he stated. Depending on his medical insurance, if he is in fact already paying $900 for medical insurance, he would be over the cap. If he is required to pay $50 per month for the Medicaid, the guideline insurance, the guideline support amount would be $580 without that $50 because of the medical insurance cap. Guideline child support would be $587 per month.
Okay. Miss Sylvia Garcia, what are you requesting today?
What am I requesting?
Yes.
The custody of Silas, while custody of Silas for his safety, and my main concern is keeping him safe.
Okay. Miss Sonia Garcia, do you have any, what is your request?
I want custody of my son back. Like I said, I know I messed up. I completely understand that. But I do want my son back. You know, whenever it was just me and him, things were great. He loved it. Like I said, dad was nowhere around. And that's really what I want again. I need my son in order to, you know, keep moving forward. And I know he needs me too. My mom's done a great job helping me out, and I do thank her for that. But I just want my son back. Yeah, I'm getting my life in order. Like I said, I've stopped talking to that third party, and I just want my little boys off.
Okay. Mr. Fuentes?
Yes, ma'am. I'm requesting to see if there's a possibility to keep the child support the same. As I have said, I have 2 daughters and a wife that's a stay-at-home mom, and I'd like to have that kept the same. And you know, if there's a possibility of seeing my son, I'll take that as well. But I understand that as well.
Okay. Mr. Fuentes, do they take taxes out of your paycheck however
Yes,
often you
ma'am.
get paid? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, I do find that there has been a material and substantial change since the prior order. due to for the best interest of the child, I will name Sylvia Garcia the sole managing conservator of the children. Miss Sonia Garcia and Mr. Irving Fuentes will be possessory conservators of the children. I am going, because Mr. Fuentes currently has health insurance and has other children on the insurance, I am going to order Mr. Fuentes to maintain the health insurance and dental insurance for the child. I used a $5,000 gross and $250 for the pro rata share of the health insurance and dental insurance, and I'm ordering Mr. Fuentes to pay $580 per month, current child support beginning February 1st, 2024. As to the arrearage that is currently has accrued and owed to Ms. Sonia Garcia, I am ordering that it be assigned to Ms. Sylvia Garcia, since she currently has and has had continuous and exclusive possession of the child. How much is that, Mr. Burnishette, as of today?
As of today,
It's going up $100.
change over to the correct case, Your Honor. Okay, as of today's date, Your Honor, the amount I'm showing is $285.78 in child support.
Okay. That will be assigned to Sylvia Garcia because those payments have been going to Sonia Garcia. So as of today, that amount will be moved over to Sylvia Garcia's account. I will order a non-disclosure for Mr. Irving Fuentes. Neither Ms. Sonia Garcia or Sylvia Garcia requested a non-disclosure. I will order possession and access for both Ms. Sonia Garcia and Mr. Irving Fuentes. For Mr. Fuentes, I will order that he can have one period of possession per month.
No.
And that will be by agreement of Sylvia Garcia as
No.
to the place and location. It will be supervised either by Sylvia Garcia or someone else that she deems as an appropriate supervisor. She will name the place and the location, so that will be worked out between Mr. Fuentes and Ms. Garcia, and as to the times. Is that understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
As to Sonia Garcia, it appears that there has been agreements as to possession and access in the past. I will, however, order a modified visitation schedule for Sonia Garcia to take place on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Saturday of each month from 1 to 3 p.m. That anything else the two of you can agree to, but that will at least give Ms. Garcia some regular visitation with the child. It will be up to Sylvia Garcia as to time and location if other agreements are made outside of the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Saturday of each month. Also, I will order that Sylvia Garcia is allowed to request drug testing of either Sonia Garcia or Irving Fuentes prior to the scheduled possession and access. And that will be at the exclusive cost of either Sonia Garcia or Irving Fuentes if requested by Sylvia Garcia. I will order that court costs will be shared between Mr. Irving Fuentes and Ms. Sonia Garcia. I'm going to order that one of two things happens. Either the Social Security benefit that is for the child, that's something, Ms. Sylvia Garcia, that you're going to have to contact the Social Security Administration regarding in order to get that payment switched over to you. So because Ms. Sonia Garcia has stated that she's receiving SSI, I'm not going to order any current child support or current medical support, but I will direct you, Ms. Sylvia Garcia, that you need to contact the Social Security Administration once this order is issued, so that any Social Security payment that is due to the child should be going to the caretaker of that child, and you will have the order to provide that information so that you can receive that money that is owed to the child's caretaker. Do you understand that, Ms. Garcia?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay.
I have a question, ma'am.
Okay. Clarification, Mr. Fuentes?
How come I'm be the only one to be paying for medical and stuff like that when the mom is not paying for any of my son's medical or dental or anything like that with
Okay.
me on that part?
Yes, because I can
I
explain
feel like
that.
she should be jointly
Fuentes?
included with that.
Because you are working and you're gainfully employed and you're capable of employment, child support and medical support can be ordered against you. But I cannot order or set any child support if someone is receiving Social Security. Okay. That's by law.
So how about
Okay.
how
Wait.
about I get hold on, how about I get an attorney to fight for all this
All right.
going on, because this is not.
I'm gonna tell you how you can do that. So that is my ruling today. Have I addressed all the issues, Mr. Burnishette?
I believe so, Your Honor. I just wanted clarification on one point. You said the visitation by Sonia would be the first, third, and fifth Saturday from 1 to 3. I didn't hear if that was supervised or if that was in
Oh, yes.
Sylvia's home.
Supervised. Supervised by Sylvia Garcia or someone she designates.
Okay, and I also wanted to clarify on the child support from Mr. Fuentes. Since he's carrying the health insurance through his employment, he stated 900. I sort of prorated it per 4 children in total and gave him credit for that $225, and that would make the guideline support $554 rather than the 580.
Okay, I think I used 1,000 because he stated that he had
Okay.
dental insurance, and I divided that by 4. So I used 250 as a credit, and I used 5,000 as the gross.
Okay.
Your Honor.
And I gave him credit for 3 other children.
Your Honor.
Just a few minutes, just a few seconds. So that
And
on
that
my
comes to
calculator,
580.
580.
Perfect.
All
Thank
right.
you, Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Burnishette?
I believe that's all our issues, Your Honor.
All right. So if any party wants a new hearing on any of the issues that I determined today, you can do that by filing a trial de novo with the Floyd County District Clerk's Office. It must be done within the next 3 days. It must be in writing. It must specify the portion of my ruling in which a new hearing is being requested. If and Mr. Burnishette will prepare the order that I've ordered today. He will submit it to me for signature, and then copies will go out to all of you after I've signed it. I appreciate you being here today. That does conclude today's hearing, and you're free to disconnect from the Zoom meeting.